My children, come near to me, not as a crowd of spectators seeking spectacle, nor as weary souls looking for a quick fix to the weight they carry, but as those who have felt the hollow echo of a prayer unanswered, the quiet collapse of a dream deferred, the slow erosion of hope beneath the relentless pressure of circumstance. I speak to you now not from a distant throne, but from the very center of your ache, where silence has grown louder than your cries, where the mountain you face has become not merely an obstacle, but the very shape of your identity. You have been told that faith is a feeling, a ritual, a Sunday habit. But I tell you now, with the tenderness of a father who has watched you stumble too many times to count, and the authority of the one who spoke the stars into being, faith is not what you feel. Faith is what you do when you feel nothing at all, not the ancient promise I gave, spoken in the dust of Galilee, under the weight of Roman boots and the silence of temple priests, was not meant to be a poetic metaphor for the pious. It was not a parable wrapped in metaphor to entertain the curious. It was a living, breathing, trembling command. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. And yet, today, centuries after those words left my lips, they are reduced to bumper stickers and Instagram captions, quoted by those who still believe that God is a genie in the sky waiting to be summoned by the right words, the right tone, the right emotional intensity. But I did not say, if you pray hard enough. I did not say, if you believe in your heart. I said, if you have faith, and faith, my beloved, is not emotion. Faith is surrender. Faith is obedience. Faith is the quiet, unshakable choice to act as if the mountain has already moved, even when the rocks still stand. What does it mean, then, to move a mountain? Let us not be deceived by the literal. I did not mean that you must stand before a literal hill of stone and command it to vanish into the sea. I spoke in the language of your world, the world you knew, the world of Jericho's walls, of the Red Sea's parting, of the widow's jar of oil that never ran dry, of the loaves and fishes that fed 5,000 with 12 baskets left over. These were not miracles performed to impress. They were signs that the kingdom of heaven is not bound by the laws of earth, that the invisible hand of divine purpose can rearrange the visible world when the soul is aligned with its source. Your mountain is not made of stone. It is made of fear that you are not enough, fear that you have failed too many times to be forgiven, fear that love has left you, that health has abandoned you, that purpose has been stolen from you. Your mountain is the debt that whispers to you in the dark, the addiction that grips your throat even when you beg for release, the loneliness that echoes in an empty house, the career that refuses to rise despite your sweat and sacrifice, the relationship that has grown cold as stone, the illness that mocks your prayers, the grief that sits beside you at every meal, the voice inside you that says, it's too late, it's too hard, it's over. And I say to you now, that mountain is not your master. It is your teacher. Look at the woman who touched the hem of my garment. She had bled for 12 years. 12 years of ritual uncleanness, of isolation, of exhaustion, of hopelessness. She had spent all she had on physicians, and none could heal her. The doctors had given up. The priests had turned her away. The crowd had grown impatient. But she did not come to me with a sermon. She did not beg. She did not shout. She came in silence, in trembling, in the quiet conviction that if she could but touch the edge of my robe, she would be made whole. And she was, not because I was moved by her words, but because her faith, her unspoken, unwavering, desperate, obedient faith reached through the noise of her suffering and touched the fabric of divine power. She did not move a mountain. She moved her own soul from despair to deliverance. And in that moment, the mountain of her shame, her isolation, her brokenness was no longer a barrier. It became a bridge. What is your mountain? Is it the addiction you cannot break? The debt you cannot escape? The dream you buried because they told you it was unrealistic? The child you lost? The marriage that ended? The rejection that still haunts you? The voice in your mind that says, "You'll never be enough"? That mountain is not your sentence. It is your sanctuary. For it is in the presence of the impossible that faith is born, not in the comfort of the easy, but in the crucible of the unbearable. Faith that moves mountains is not a mystical force. It is not a secret formula. It is not a prayer whispered 3 times at dawn. Faith is the union of 3 unbreakable threads: conviction, perseverance, and action. Conviction is the knowing, not the hoping, not the wishing, not the begging that God is good, even when your circumstances scream otherwise. Conviction is the quiet certainty that the same power that raised Lazarus from the tomb is alive in you. It is the refusal to let your pain define your destiny. It is the decision made in the darkness that you will not worship your suffering. You will not make a god out of your fear. You will not surrender your soul to the lie that your past determines your future. Conviction is the first breath of faith, the breath that says, even if I do not see it, even if I do not feel it, even if no one believes it, I will believe this. God is with me. Perseverance is the second thread. It is the daily return to the place where you stood yesterday, even when nothing changed. It is the morning you wake up and pray again, even though your prayers have gone unanswered for years. It is the decision to show up for your healing, even when healing feels like a myth. Perseverance is the widow who kept knocking on the judge's door, not because she expected justice, but because she refused to stop seeking it. Perseverance is the man who walked to the pool of Siloam, blind, and obeyed the command to wash, even though the water looked ordinary, even though the instructions seemed absurd. And when he washed, he saw, not because the water had magic, but because his obedience had moved him from passivity to participation, and action. Oh, my children, action is the third thread, the one most often forgotten. Faith without action is a corpse. It is a prayer spoken and never lived. It is a dream written and never pursued. It is a confession of belief that never dares to step forward. Faith moves mountains when you take the next step, even if you are trembling. When you make the call you've been avoiding. When you walk away from the toxic relationship. When you open the Bible again after years of silence. When you go to therapy. When you pay the debt, $1 at a time. When you forgive the one who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to carry their poison any longer. When you speak truth to the lie that says you are broken beyond repair. Action is the visible expression of invisible faith. It is the proof that you believe, not just in God, but in yourself as the vessel through which God works. That do not mistake illusion for faith. Many people say they have faith, but they live in paralysis. They pray for healing, but refuse to change their diet. They ask for financial breakthrough, but refuse to budget, to work harder, to learn new skills. They cry out for love, but refuse to open their hearts. They beg for peace, but cling to resentment. This is not faith. This is wishful thinking dressed in religious language. True faith is not passive. It is active. It is not a plea. It is a partnership. God does not move mountains for those who sit and wait. He moves mountains through those who rise and walk, and yet you will face obstacles. Oh, how you will face them. Doubt will whisper to you in the quiet hours. You've tried before. It didn't work. Fear will wrap its cold fingers around your throat. What if you fail again? Shame will remind you of every mistake you've ever made. You don't deserve this. And the world, oh, the world will laugh. The world will say, stop dreaming. The world will say, be realistic. The world will say, it's not possible. But I tell you, the world has never been the measure of the possible. The world measured Lazarus as dead. The world measured the sea as impassable. The world measured the widow's oil as empty. The world measured the loaves and fishes as insufficient. But I saw what the world could not see, a soul ready to believe. The greatest obstacle to moving your mountain is not the mountain itself. It is the story you have told yourself about it. You have convinced yourself that you are too old, too broken, too far gone, too sinful, too tired, too unworthy. But I say to you, I did not come for the perfect. I came for the weary. I did not come for the strong. I came for the broken. I did not come for those who had it all together. I came for those who had nothing left to give. And in your brokenness, my power is made perfect. You must silence the voices that speak against you, especially the one inside your own head. That voice is not yours. It is the voice of the accuser. It is the spirit of defeat disguised as wisdom. It is the lie that has been repeated so often that you have begun to believe it is truth. But I tell you, the truth is this: you are not defined by your past. You are not condemned by your failures. You are not abandoned by your sorrows. You are chosen. You are seen. You are known. And you are not alone. I have walked every path you walk. I have known hunger. I have known betrayal. I have known rejection. I have known the weight of a cross. I have known the silence of the tomb. And yet I rose, not because I was invincible, but because I trusted the Father, even when the night was longest, even when the disciples had fled, even when the world had turned its back not. So I ask you now, what is your mountain? Is it the addiction you've tried to break 100 times? Is it the depression that steals your mornings? Is it the dream you buried because someone told you it was foolish? Is it the estranged child you long to hold again? Is it the job you lost and the shame that followed? Is it the illness that refuses to leave? Is it the grief that sits beside you at every meal? Is it the loneliness that haunts your silence? I do not ask you to answer aloud. I ask you to answer in the quiet of your heart. And then I say to you, begin, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when the pain lessens, not when you have more money, more time, more strength, not begin now. Take one step. Speak one word of truth to the lie. Write down one desire you've buried. Reach out to one person you've pushed away. Forgive one person who hurt you, even if they never apologize. Read one verse of Scripture and let it settle into your bones. Pray not for the mountain to disappear, but for the strength to walk through it. Pray not for the storm to cease, but for the courage to sail through it. Pray not for the healing to come instantly, but for the faith to keep walking while you wait. This is the path. This is the way. This is the kingdom of heaven, not in the sky, but in the soil of your daily obedience. You do not need a miracle to begin. You need a decision. And when you make that decision, even if it is trembling, even if it is small, even if it is whispered in the dark, heaven leans in. The angels pause. The gates of grace swing open. The same power that parted the sea, that calmed the storm, that raised the dead, that transformed fishermen into apostles, that turned water into wine, that same power is alive in you. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are the living testimony of divine possibility. And I tell you, with the full weight of eternity in my voice, your faith can move mountains, not because you are strong, but because I am strong. Not because you are perfect, but because I am perfect. Not because you deserve it, but because I love you. So rise. Stand, walk, and as you walk, know this: The mountain does not have to vanish for you to be free. Sometimes the mountain remains, but you are changed, and that is the greatest miracle of all. For when the mountain remains, and you walk through it still breathing, still believing, still loving, you become the living proof that faith does not remove suffering. Faith transforms the sufferer, and in that transformation, you become the miracle. So I ask you now, what is your mountain? Write it, speak it, name it, and then, in the quiet, say this: Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. And I will answer, not with a clap of thunder, not with a sign from heaven, but with a whisper in your soul. Arise, walk, and you will, because you are not alone, and I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Go now, begin, and let your faith move mountains not by force, but by surrender, not by noise, but by stillness, not by demand, but by trust. For I have already done the impossible. Now, my child, walk into it, and be free.